This is CBS 46 News at 4. Getting results.
A man arrested for pointing a gun at two women. Why he blames the coronavirus.
How long can the coronavirus live on surfaces? A new report by the CDC may surprise you.
Mostly empty streets after the governor and mayor of Atlanta order people to stay home. Why Atlanta's rules are a lot tougher.
Our country is not supposed to be, it's not built to shut down.
The White House and lawmakers say they're closer to reaching a coronavirus economic stimulus package. I'm Natalie Brand with what the president is saying about the economy and the 15-day social distancing guidelines.
Breaking news on the deadly coronavirus pandemic. Georgia now reaching a grim milestone with cases in the state surpassing 1,000. I'm Karen Greer in for Rick.
Good afternoon. I'm Sean Gables. Thanks for joining us. We do have team coverage today with brand new information out on how long the virus can actually last on surfaces. We're also talking to Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms live about her stay-at-home order in Atlanta.
Hear from her in just a few minutes, but first, more storms are on the way. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Valdez, and she's going to pinpoint what's coming up for us. We will check back in with Jen in just a bit. Sean, I'll let you go to that breaking news.
Thank you, Karen. Now back to that breaking news that we were talking about. Georgia coronavirus cases now up to 1,026 with 32 deaths statewide. We have brand new numbers out showing Fulton, DeKalb, and Doughty counties have the highest numbers. To help put this all into perspective, here's how the numbers compare to population size. Georgia has about 10.6 million people living in the state. That means less than 1/100th of 1% of the state's population is now infected. In Fulton County, that percentage is 0.017. In DeKalb County, it's 0.012. And in Doughty, it's 0.1%.
Now in other news, a man has been arrested for pulling out a gun on two women, afraid they might give him the coronavirus. CBS 46's Brittany Edney takes us inside what police are saying about the crime.
This post office here off Webbridge Road, well, that's where this incident happened. Something that police are calling a, quote, overreaction. Police say this man, 75-year-old Harvey Joel Terratute, pulled out a gun and pointed it at a woman and her adult granddaughter in the post office. Why? Well, he told police both women were wearing medical masks and gloves when they went into the post office, and he was afraid they were going to give him the coronavirus. Police say after Terratute pointed the gun and yelled at the women to get back, that he left and drove off. One of the victims got his license plate number. Investigators went to his house, where they say Terratute surrendered peacefully, but add he was wearing a holstered gun at the time. He faces a pointing a pistol at another charge. Police are asking everyone to not let fear override your logic while we all go through this difficult time. In Alpharetta, I'm Brittany Edney, CBS 46 News.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Dunstan at the live desk with breaking news on the deadly coronavirus outbreak from around the nation today. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo saying the apex of the coronavirus will be higher and sooner than experts anticipated, and it could be 2 or 3 weeks away. He's also criticizing the federal response, saying the Trump administration is not doing enough, especially when it comes to getting hospital ventilators. Well, today, some grim words from the World Health Organization. The spokesperson says our nation has the potential to become the next epicenter of the pandemic. She says we need to test every suspected case and isolate and care for every person known to be ill. Today, Ford announcing it is working with other giant companies to produce medical equipment and protective gear. The automaker is working with 3M also to produce a new kind of powered air purifying respirator for healthcare workers. Also with GE Healthcare to increase the production of those ventilators. At the live desk, I'm Mike Dunstan. Sean, back to you.
Mike, thank you. Back here in Georgia, Governor Brian Kemp's newest executive order is now in effect. It's requiring medically fragile individuals to stay at home. Atlanta's mayor issued an executive order of her own, which took effect at midnight. CBS 46's Rebecca Schramm says the mayor's order is more restrictive, and it shows.
8:30 a.m. on a Tuesday in the heart of Atlanta has never looked quite like this. Streets are almost empty, and only a handful of people looked like they were headed to work.
Are you essential?
Kind of.
She works at a hotel. This retired couple was starting to go stir crazy.
We've done all our home improvement projects we can think of.
The order by Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms requires everyone but essential workers in the city limits of Atlanta to stay at home for 14 days unless they need to go to the grocery store, pharmacy, laundromat, or a takeout restaurant. It's doubtful you'll get in trouble for walking your dog or stretching your legs, but it's clear the governor and a growing number of local leaders would rather you stay at home as much as possible.
And it will ban all gatherings of 10 or more people.
With Governor Brian Kemp's stay-at-home order, because much of Georgia doesn't have the concentration of coronavirus cases Atlanta has, the statewide rules for now only apply to residents of long-term care facilities, people with a chronic lung condition, cancer patients, and those with or suspected of having COVID-19. Enforcement will come from public health officials. Local and state leaders say if they need to clamp down on citizens even harder in the coming days, they won't hesitate. In Atlanta, Rebecca Schramm, CBS 46 News.
And as the mayor mentioned, or as mentioned by the mayor, Atlanta is keeping parks and the Beltline open for now, but other cities are not. Alpharetta is the latest city to shut down its parks. City staff started to place barricades at the entrances today. Those parks will stay closed for 30 days. Trails, paths, and Big Creek Greenway, well, that's going to remain open, but you can't gather in groups of 10 or more while using them. Jen.
Well, we had some nasty storms across North Georgia early this morning, and now we're getting a nice little break, even seeing some sunshine come out. That's allowing temperatures to warm up, but it's also allowing us to become increasingly unstable. So definitely something we'll be watching for. Right now on CBS 46 Pinpoint Radar, seeing a couple little areas of rain, not a whole lot happening right now, and that's exactly what we were expecting. We were forecasting 2 rounds of rain. We already got that first round of rain, still seeing a couple little areas of light rain in northeastern Georgia, but I want to show you what's yet to come. That line you see moving through western Tennessee, that is the area of rain moving in. Then I put arrows to show you which way it's moving. It's moving to the south and east, so it will be here late tonight as we approach 9 p.m., 10 p.m., as we approach midnight. Very strong storms possible. Moving into northwestern Georgia, they will be incredibly strong as they enter the state. Then they will start to weaken as they move to the south and east, but this will continue through midnight and even early tomorrow morning. So 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. could still see some storms before this moves out early tomorrow morning. After that, we will be dry tomorrow. But until then, some storms in the forecast. The highest likelihood of severe weather over northern Alabama and south central Tennessee. That's where we're under a level 3 threat of severe weather. We're just outside of that, but northwest Georgia, areas west of I-85, north of I-20, under a level 2 risk of severe weather. We're still looking at the possibility of tornadoes, although very isolated at this point. On top of that, could see strong damaging winds near 60 miles an hour, if not higher. Very heavy rainfall and frequent lightning. We're going to talk about all of it, including the flooding threat. We do have a flash flood watch in effect. We'll talk about the tornado threat, and we'll talk about the next several hours coming up.
All right, thank you, Jen. Georgia will mail absentee ballot request forms to every voter in the state. It's an effort to reassure voters anxious about potential exposure to the coronavirus at polling places. People who are disabled or 65 and older will receive absentee ballots for the primary and the general election. Other voters will have to apply a second time for an absentee ballot for the general election. A Publix employee has tested positive for the coronavirus. That person works at the Cummings store located inside the Cruise Marketplace on Buford Highway. State health officials say despite this confirmed case, customers are still at a low risk for exposure. Publix says the store has been deep cleaned and is once again open for shoppers. Well, what is the shelf life of the coronavirus? It's a question that many people are asking. Experts have said a number of hours to several days, but a new report from the CDC suggests the virus can live up to 17 days. CBS 46's Ashley Thompson has the alarming new information.
We are getting our first look at the public health response to the novel coronavirus outbreaks on cruise ships. This info just published yesterday.
During the initial stages of the pandemic, the Diamond Princess cruise ship had what was thought to be the largest outbreak outside of China. The Diamond Princess departed Yokohama, Japan on January 20th, carrying 3,711 passengers and crew members. 5 days later, on January 25th, a sick passenger left the cruise ship in Hong Kong. 6 days later, on February 1st, that man tested positive for the novel coronavirus. On February 3rd, the ship returned to Japan after making 6 stops in 3 countries. Japanese authorities were notified of the man's positive coronavirus diagnosis, and the ship was quarantined. 2 days after, everyone was quarantined to their cabins. Among the 3,711 passengers and crew members, 712 tested positive for the coronavirus. That's nearly 20% of everyone on board. Of the 712, 331 were asymptomatic at the time of testing. Alarmingly, the CDC's public health response says the coronavirus, quote, was identified on a variety of surfaces in cabins of both symptomatic and asymptomatic infected passengers up to 17 days after cabins were vacated on the Diamond Princess, but before disinfection procedures had been conducted. This suggests the virus can live much longer than originally expected.
The report says transmission of the virus largely occurred between passengers before the quarantine was put in place where they had to stay in their cabins. In Atlanta, Ashley Thompson, CBS 46 News.
Ashley, thanks. Breaking news on Wall Street. The stock market getting a lift today thanks to promise of a stimulus deal. Here, the closing numbers. The Dow Jones Industrial soaring more than 2,100 points. NASDAQ skyrocketing 557. And the S&P 500 up 209. Now, information on the coronavirus pandemic is changing quickly, and that's why we are leading coverage on the coronavirus outbreak with hourly updates for you. You can watch at the top of every hour on the powerful CBS 46 app and on our CBS 46 Facebook page. Download that app for free in the Apple App Store or on Google Play. Now, as Congress tries to work out a stimulus deal, there are worries that President Trump is focused on the economy at the expense of human lives.
I'm Riley Carlson with why some doctors believe losing your sense of smell could be a symptom of the coronavirus.